Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what it'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
There we go. I'm muted. Alright, Humita gets to be Yellow Comet. This is Go7 the Bully. This is a tournament match, as all of the ones have been. I should do my turn on stream in the fog game. I don't know about that. The music is very foreboding about any plays like that. I know. The black boats, they're hugging. You pretty much have vision anyway. You guys do have a lot of units. I will soon be overwhelmed just by the sheer numbers and the fact that I don't make nearly as much money as everyone else combined. But I did manage to save myself from the nuclear strikes, so that's going to help me be able to hopefully hold a line somewhere. This is high funds. Mathblitz, I don't know why you think you're lost. The odds are definitely hugely in your favor. You don't believe in unit count. You don't understand the power of unit count. Yeah, in high funds, there's a very different tier system. In high funds, Jess is often considered much better than Lash. Just because Jess has way better powers. And the strength of your infantry don't usually matter so much in high funds because it's so heavy, so vehicle based with heavy vehicles. And the fact that Jess gives them extra move and extra firepower makes it really good. Makes her really good. Of course, this is a very special map. And I chose Lash for a very specific reason. Which I'll go into once a few more people show up. Now, Mathblitz, not only you guys outnumber me 14-1, but you guys also have the news on your side. Look at these black boats. They're all hanging out with their weird hands. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with their hands. Are they stretching them up, or is it like the hands are rotating in a circle? I feel like it looks, now that I just like watch it, it looks really weird if they're stretching them out and back. I feel like the rotation would make more sense to me. How come I didn't want to participate in the Mang's Master League? That's because I have a no Mang's policy. Hey everybody, it's me, Go7, King of the Penguins. Here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay stream. Please enjoy and have fun. And learn and help the stream with a like, comment, sub, thumbs up, etc. Here we go. It's like cooking things. It's like cooking thongs that you click, but then with wrenches. Yeah. Exactly. It's very weird. Very good shilling. Hey everybody. Go7 here. Okay. So this map has a name. That name is After the Rain. So I believe this is a Voice of Akasha map. Your MMR isn't great, but your shilling is on point. It's good. It's good. But yeah, so this is After the Rain. I think we're supposed to assume that there was a lot of land here connecting everything before, and then the rain came and flooded the area. I mean, it's nice. The poor infantry retreated to these cities at the high points before it got flooded, and now you got to go back and reclaim everything. Ooh, they have is it migration maps is what they're called? They have their own special theme. I did not know that. That's very cool. So the way that this map works is that you can go to any of these 6 bases on the map, picking your infantry up from these black boats and then, you know, going over to those bases. You can make it to all of the bases in the same number of turns, which I believe is 3. Because you can go down here, drop off, and the infantry can go 1, 2, 3. And now the third turn it starts capturing. And over here you go to here, and then you go to here, drop off, third turn. Over here, then here, drop off, third turn. Same thing with going all these other places. So you have an equal opportunity to go to any of these bases, but all of these bases are not all created equally. You can see that this one has control over the comm tower, and it's mirrored over here. This one also has control over the comm tower, and that's its main thing. But you also notice that this base is very, very vulnerable to this airport and to this harbor, which is within 6 tiles exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you build a battleship from this port, or like from this port to cover this base, or this port to cover this base, these bases are very vulnerable to being battleship locked. Clearly the idea is to go straight for the neutral bases and not fight with the starting infantry, right? So it's important to realize a few things about these bases. This base has, or these two bases here kind of try and fight over this pathway, which is the only way, and this harbor, the only way to make it to this airport. And then this airport directly threatens this base. But this base could build a missile to lock the airport. So if you don't have, I think the idea is if you don't have complete control over here on the land side of things, then the other, like this base could build a missile to lock this, or this base could. Is the idea, I believe. And a lot of people have been picking Jess on this map because Jess is the strongest CO for this tier in high funds, just because it's, you get to those vehicles really, really fast. Do I think Grit's any good for this map? I don't think so. I think Grit would struggle because even if you, like, you don't even have to be fighting Sturm for recons to immediately start harassing you, because the roads just kind of lead, like roads and shoals lead straight to the bases. I think Grit would struggle. If Grit managed to get past like the mid game, then he'd probably be pretty happy with how many of these harbors you have. But anyway, yeah. So another thing to note about all of these bases is that there's two ways to access this base, and there's two ways to access this base, but there's only one way to access this base. The same thing over here. These bases, though, the comm tower bases, only have one quick way to get to them, and that's right here. And that matters because if you, instead of peacefully just going to whatever base you want to and letting your opponent go to whatever base they want to, as long as they don't go to one of these two bases, you can just chase them with your infantry. And for instance, over here, if you come over here to drop off right here, the other player can wrap around down here and drop off, and while that's not in range to capture, it is in range to interrupt the base capture. So if you're playing this map, and I mean, if you're playing this map, you do need to keep in mind that these four bases on the map are very easy to harass with the other starting infantry. And then the only two safe ones that you can go to, this one and this one, have a weakness, and that's that they're on complete opposite sides of the map, and they're very exposed to the airport harassment and the port harassment. So if you're like playing Jess, who's got really weak infantry and can't deal with infantry harassment, especially against somebody against like Lash, or even Jake with all the planes, or especially Sammy, you kind of have to just run away until your opponent can't chase you anymore. And that's going to happen once you go for these bases. But if you go for them right away, your opponent can just claim these, like either these two bases or these two bases, and then pin you in. Because if they claim this base and you have this base, they can very quickly get this airport. If they have this base, they can fight you for this harbor, and then suddenly your other base is on the complete other side of the map, unable to help this base that's being 2v1'd. So it's very risky to go with a Jess pick here if your opponent, unless your opponent also goes for a Jess pick, because the infantry bullying will lock you out of 4 of the bases on the map, and then the other 2 bases that you have cannot help each other, and your opponent will be able to claim the bases to beat up one of them. Sammy is usable, but she has to go hard on the bullying, even harder than I go. But she's able to do that because not only is her infantry stronger, but when her infantry get injured, they can still capture very efficiently. She doesn't get any quicker base captures, which would be something that would make Sammy a lot better, is if you could just hop in here and then you could like make it to this shoal and drop off. That doesn't quite happen, but she is going to have an easier time zooming around and messing with your opponent in the early game. So I picked Lash specifically because I was worried about a Sammy pick and how it could lock me out of bases, because it's a little bit easier to do as player 2 than player 1 to be the bully. Because if I like decide to go down here and drop off with my infantry, for instance, both of these both of the player 2 black boats could chase that one guy down and just like take me out very aggressively. So as player 1, you're gonna want to go somewhere, and you want to place yourself in a way that it's harder for them to chase you down in the subsequent turns, which is something I'm going to do. And then you'll want to see if they split up their black boats, because if the infantry stick together, they'll be able to get a base, but they'll only be able to get one base. So if they stick together to stop you from bullying them, they'll get one base, and then you just go and claim 2 different bases, and you'll have your advantage in that way. You'll see how it goes. What stops player 1 from just skipping their turn? Well, you could just skip your turn. I wouldn't recommend it, because if you skip your turn and then player 2 goes for the bases that you can't harass, then, or that you can't bully, then you're just going to be behind. And what you really want is to be either ahead or equal to them in developing the bases, because if they get their first base up before you do, then they can come down and harass you before you can get your numbers advantage on them. You'll see how it plays out. So anyway, oh yeah, I picked Lash because I was worried about the Sammy harassment. I saw how scary that was. But I would also, but I also didn't want to be worse off in the mid to late game, which Sammy would really be because of how much weaker her vehicles are and how her powers don't really benefit the vehicles at all. So I went with Lash because she's able to actually defend against a Sammy assault if Lash is on a base with the 3 stars. And Lash is actually strong enough that she can be a bully herself against Jess using forests next to bases. This is kind of a hot base that lots of people would like to go for because it has very quick access to this region over here. And could potentially try and take this comm tower. So being able to attack from this forest is really nice. And even if you just have the planes to attack from, it's giving you that plus 10%. And Jess has minus 10% on all of her infantry, so she really can't contest you. Kindle's not in this tier, no. Okay. So I come down here because I want to have the opportunity to pick up and chase someone somewhere else if I have to, and I want to be able to reach down here and just drop off at this harbor while not leaving myself too exposed. The different places that Humita may be able to drop off an infantry in order to threaten me aren't great. If you drop off on the forest, I still get an advantageous strike for me. Drop off over here on this plains, I get an amazing strike. I could have dropped off in this forest. I'm not 100% sure why I did. Oh, it's because if I drop off in the forest, then I don't threaten the 2-turn walk onto the base. So I was just trying to block off as many spots that Humita could follow me from, especially the drop off on this city would be really annoying. Do I ever play any FFA or team games? I'm playing one right now, actually. It's a 1 versus 14 players with my Patreons. Your jaw dropped when you first saw my opening, but it made sense. Yeah. So Humita's gonna make a classic mistake again for playing against me, and that is gonna be a copying of my opening. So what I do here is something I can do because I'm Lash, and I'm versus a Jess. But if I'm Lash and my opponent's Jess, I get to do this, and now Humita's in a bit of a tough spot. This black boat can't bail from... It can't like go back into the center to try and go for another base. It's limited to these two bases for now. And this infantry can't just walk to this base. That would be a little catastrophic. It could go here, and you could block with the black boat, but then I can pick up my infantry and just drop off over here on this city. And be ready to both capture this base and threaten this infantry from capturing it. And then over here, I was talking about how this isn't actually a safe base to go for. I can just harass it. So I'm going to drop off here to threaten to go for this capture, but the real threat that I have here is I can hop back in and drop off right here and contest the base capture if this guy goes for it. And my main goal here is to get a turn advantage, because eventually Humita is going to be forced to go for a long walk to one of these bases. And as long as I don't mess up my placement too bad, I should end up getting both of my bases before Humita does. And then if I have both of my bases before Humita does, and two of them are trapped or are like pincering another one, then I can just go full on the harassment there and try and make it so very, very little income is possible for Humita. Remember, kids, bullying is only okay when penguins do it. You see Humita drops off in this forest and can now go for this capture, and then I have a choice here. I can either go straight for this base, or I'll be able to drop off here to contest this. And I'm going to prefer to drop off here to contest this, to push Humita towards this base while I have control over this area and this area. So Humita hops back into the black boat, drops off over here. Now I have a few choices for how I could deal with this. So first I'll come down here to stop that capture. I'm going to go for the harbor capture. Now I could hop into my black boat and then drop off right here on the plains tile. And I didn't want to do that because it kind of forces Humita to attack me on the plains with this infantry, which is like, it's favorable. It's like 70% of the time I'm going to come out on top. But I'm already in a winning position just because I'm going to get my bases before Humita. So I don't need to risk 30% chance to go even, essentially. So I'm not going to do this drop off. If I was Sammy, I would do it because she'd be stronger. But I don't need to give Humita a chance to kind of get back into the game there. I could have dropped myself. No, I could have hopped into the black boat and then dropped off here, but that's even worse because he just attacks me from when I'm on the road. So I went for the harbor capture, and the reasoning behind this is if Humita tries to just do a stare off over this base, I can just finish and capture the harbor and start getting income, and then I can go for anything I want because I'll be able to repair at the black boat. If Humita hops into this black boat and then drops off over here, I'm still going to beat Humita to this base, so I'll still get my nice turn advantage. I'm just very happy about that. The amount of planning you went through during these turns was insane. It's... yeah, it's gnarly. And I think, yeah, I just want to try and lock this black boat in here so there's no dreams of escaping. Is the map, well, the map I don't think is able to soft lock because I mean it could soft lock, I guess, but it's not going to be able to do so in this matchup because my infantry are always going to be better. And then again, there are these two bases here that you can't have these harassment tactics working very effectively for, and you'll see what happens with this. So you can see Humita forced to go for the long walk. Go for this base now. I'm not quite sure why this black boat moved down here. Oh, I know why. Oh, okay, never mind. That's right. It's because I was threatening to hop back into the black boat, and if the infantry just walked here, I could drop off 1, 2, 3, like here, I think. Or is it over here? I don't know. I had plans to further chase this infantry if I wanted to, but I thought that looking about like 4 or 5 turns into it, it didn't look super great. But yeah, that's what Humita is stopping me from hopping back into my black boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop off. No, it's drop off here. Ah, yeah, that's right. If Humita hops into this black boat, drops the infantry off here, I would hop in, drop off here, and then I'd be able to chase across these cities to threaten the base capture. The long walk of shame. I know. Anyway, that stops that. That's okay for me, because that does mean I get to claim over this very important tile, because it's the only kind of direct link between these two bases. So, plop. And now that my black boat's here, Humita cannot get this airport, because this black boat can't get past. Well, I'm already in place to go for this airport. Humita, I think, could have tried to rush this black boat down to try and block this tile, but it might run out of fuel. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I could finish the harbor capture to get some more income, but I really wanted the unit count advantage because my plan is to just overwhelm this one base, and I don't need a lot of money to do that. Also, the amount of... I will have this harbor for like 4 or something turns, but I do get more money, I believe, in the long run by just having an infantry earlier and being able to get captures faster. But I mean, it wouldn't be bad to finish the harbor capture. Here we go. Here's my nice turn advantage, and it's both a turn advantage and a really good positional advantage because I've got the pincer with the turn advantage on this base with the airport. And there's technically a pincer here, but I'm blocking off the tile that this base needs to have the real pressure on me. So you can see I start both of my bases at the same time, a turn earlier, and then Humita starts the turn after. And this is going to be a really big deal because not only is this a complete turn ahead for me, but this is high funds. So each of these properties I'm capturing earlier are going to be giving double the income. And because I have these running earlier, I'm going to have a much easier time harassing Humita's own development. Okay, so the advantage that Jess is going to have here is all of these fights along this road will do absolutely nothing for me. So I'm going to be really happy if I'm ever able to I mean, these double city tiles are very nice for me because I'm almost Kindle, and that if I can attack from one of them, I get a nice power boost there. So I've got my sights on this harbor, because if I capture this harbor, space is just, it's going to die because I can build a battleship. It'll be a Lash battleship 2 on the harbor, so I'll have plus 30% firepower. And then over here, I've already got my sights on hopping into this black boat and getting this airport up and running, because that will take a little while, and it just adds another layer of pressure on this base, because normally this base would be able to build a missile to stop this airport from coming online, but if I have 2 bases on either side of it, putting pressure on it, it's just not going to be able to afford to build a missile, either for money reasons or just unit reasons. If it's being harassed with tanks and recons, and you build a missile, then you'll just get overrun. And then over here, or no, actually, I think I might go for this. I probably go for this base first, and then I go for the airport. That would make a lot more sense because it's high econ. Okay, I do go for the... I could have gone for the airport first. I do think this is probably better. Otherwise, I'll end up behind. I'm also going to get this base online a lot faster than Humita will. Yeah, I have the one-way floodgate, which is really handy. So we have our first recon. And this is a really annoying recon, because you can see it can threaten either base. So Humita kind of has to care in either direction. I could beat Humita to both airports. That's very true. But this airport would be pretty much useless for me. I mean, it would make me a tiny bit of money. But I would give up this spot, which I don't really want to give up very easily. And the big difference here is, on this side I have 2 bases putting pressure on this base. Over here, a missile just gets built, and I can't do anything. Yeah, I would say Humita's... I don't know if I would say it's already lost, but it's almost impossible to come back from. And here I'm just trying to make sure that I can still attack both sides while putting pressure on its imagery. So this recon covers all of these cities on by. So this imagery walking down here isn't great. I understand why it did, because it's the double city and you want that. What Humita kind of has to worry about with this base is this harbor. I mean, losing turn 1 by picking Jess in incorrect conditions is common. There was a lot of Jess picks on this map. People, I guess, people did not respect the vulnerability of the infantry. Okay, so you can see the tank. I thought this was a very cute play. So, the tank gets built, the black boats come in, and they stop my recon from coming down here with this recon support. Which is very cute. But that does mean I just get to attack over here, which is fine. Isn't just getting both comm towers kind of risky for me? It will mean that Jess will have really strong vehicles, but comm tower captures early on especially really don't matter, because there's so few engagements and they don't earn money. So I'm already ahead in income and development just because I have the complete turn advantage and the better position. So these comm tower captures, from my perspective, are like almost a good thing. It's just like a further delay in my opponent's economy for a problem that is only going to really matter for me if I'm ever fighting Humita with like the same unit. If I just have more money, I can either out-tech or just out-counter the Jess units. This might have been a mistake to go for this kill. I basically... because it leaves the infantry really vulnerable. But my logic was basically, I've got 2 bases of infantry over here, and the vehicle buys are going to start forcing this base to build a vehicle every single turn. So it's a better trade to me to trade infantry for infantry. And if the tank hits me, then it's not hitting the recon, and then the recon can go after this infantry. Yep, you can see. Oh, and I build the tank to cover this infantry. So you can see Humita just now starts capturing this base. Well, I've already finished capturing this base. The turn advantage just keeps compiling. You'll also note there's no income gain from getting this comm tower. So Humita's at 8,000 at the start and at the end of the turn. And then ends up going for this infantry on infantry strike, which ends up being pretty nice because I'm on a road 9-4. But that does also slow down the capture potential from this base. You can see it's only captured a single city for income, and it's not going to be able to capture any of these cities because I can already start building stuff to interrupt captures while I have the airport on its way. So you can see this black boat goes over here. It's stopping my infantry from walking down here to get this capture, because that would actually be a free capture. And it's a pretty scary harbor. It'd be a harbor access to the middle. And then, yeah, there was no hit over here on the port infantry. In order to do that, Humita would have to either not capture this comm tower, or the tank would have to leave this recon alone, which I agree leaving the recon alone would be pretty dangerous, because there'd be another infantry for it to attack. But as we'll see, this port's a really big deal. Okay, I do this because it guarantees that the recon isn't going to be attacked. There's no way that Humita's just going to let me take a fourth of his cities right there, or properties. On the right side, you can take the tank shot on the infantry and block Jess from city terrain return strike. On the right, you can take the tank shot on the infantry and block Jess from city terrain return strike. I don't think I see what you're talking about here. Yeah, the tank hits here. Oh, you're saying the 4 HP attacks, dies, tank kills this off, recon steps here. Because I can't make it onto the city. Well, I don't need to kill this infantry. You said I know. I could do that. You are right. It doesn't die. He retires. Okay. I start getting this harbor. I don't know if I should have gone in this direction. It's gonna be really hard to hold these things. But I do go for this artillery because it's one of those, it's a nice cheap indirect that puts a lot of pressure on the base that starts walking towards. I'm going to make a little mistake over here with this black boat, but I'll be able to solve it. Okay, the tank now comes up and hits me on this harbor. I think Humita at this point might have recognized. It was either saying, oh, this is just a free attack, or it might have been recognizing that this harbor is very scary. And you can see now this base is pretty much stuck, just building vehicle after vehicle after vehicle. In comes my artillery. It's now a Lash artillery on a city, and it's staring at the harbor, so it's going to be really tough for Humita to ever get a capture here. I'll just come up here and take out this infantry. It was a very unhealthy 9 when I got healed up, so it was a very unhealthy 10. This is tournament. And I decided that I wanted to save this recon instead of going down. Like, I could go down here and I could harass some infantry, but I'll just get taken out. And I don't have the same pressure over here as I do over here, so I'm not super keen on just interrupting for like a turn and then losing my recon. Instead, I decide that it's done its job over here, and it's time to start switching over here to help take care of the last 2 infantry on this front and be a nice blocker. At this point, I should just move this. The black boat doesn't have enough fuel to make it back over here. What I should do is just move it to the side. I can eventually, if I need to, I could eventually build an APC. But the important thing about moving it out of here is that then after this capture, the infantry can walk here, and that means I can always threaten to build a transport copter and drop my infantry right on this base after clearing it. Rest in peace, Recon, you did a great job. We get absolutely destroyed in this tank engagement, but that's okay. The tanks don't super matter. Okay, so at this point I'm getting a little bit worried about this harbor, because there are 3 tanks here. Also, I was threatening to interrupt, or not interrupt, but take out this infantry. I was surprised that Humita actually finished that capture. There was a change that lets the B-boat top off now, yeah. So I'm doing like the same thing. I'm threatening to go for this harbor, but Humita is not gonna be quite so keen on this side. So I'll take out that infantry. Now this entire right side for Humita is down to a single infantry. And I've saved up 14k, so next turn I'll have 34k, and I could build a battleship. So what I should probably do at this point, though, is I should build a black boat, because Humita has absolutely no way to clear the black boat off of this harbor. The best thing Humita could do is move a black boat next to it to lock it in there, but then at any time I want to, I can just delete the black boat and build a battleship, which would have been probably the best play. I wasn't too worried about it, though, because I have my artillery on this city, so I'm like, I can just shell whatever stands on the harbor. But I think the black boat buy would have been better. Well, Humita currently can just sit on the harbor with the black boat. But you can see I'm 7 units ahead at the end of my turn. That's just from all of the turn advantage going on, and some harassment. And Humita has finally caught up to be equal in income at the end. Here we go. We have the black boat block on the harbor. In income, the tanks, and then the anti-air is kind of forced because I now have this airport. Lots of tanks, and he is going to get the double comm tower, but again, that won't actually give any more money, so I'm going to quickly be able to get very far ahead in economy again. I'm just trying to make a really annoying situation to attack into, and you can see at this point, well, it's like, fine, I can't build my battleship right now, I'll just build a neo tank. It does cover all of this stuff. You saw, yeah, I was torn. I was like, should I build a bomber? Should I build a neo tank? Should I build a battleship over here? You're not so sure. 3 shots on the black boat. You're not so sure about me firing on the black boat? I mean, you definitely fire on the black boat, because now this no longer can cover the harbor. Oh, him placing the boat there. I think he has to place the boat there. There's nothing else he could place there that stops me from building a battleship. So at this point, there's a pretty scary attack that Humita can go for, and I decide that this front over here just doesn't matter. I'll just go for the kill on this base all in. So I'm going to block off this tank to deal with any scary double comm tower Jess attacks. I'm gonna start sneaking my way over here. The real intention is that I don't have a comm tower, but if there's ever a turn that Humita just builds a tank here, I'll be able to sacrifice the 3 health tank in, and then have tank copter clear it off, and then have some other air units, probably the transport copter, drop off here. But you can see, because I didn't move the black boat out of the way, I actually loaded the infantry inside of it, which is a problem. This guy now is getting out of here. I don't have the money to go for a battleship. Humita is going to build a neo tank to answer my neo tank, which is fine. But you can see just how much pressure this one base is on. Yeah, I could have built a battleship over here. I just wasn't super happy with the kind of delay to it. I have to build it and then I have to move it, and then I'm not a Lash battleship on a harbor, and I don't have a very easy way to follow up to do anything to this base, and then I'll be down in income in this fight. I mean, it's not a bad buy. I could definitely see doing it. Well, I'm fine with losing the harbor here because of this for the same reason that I don't really want to build a battleship here to go after this base. A battleship being built here doesn't super scare me because my standing army can just take out this base, and there's no way for Humita to follow up that battleship in a meaningful way to actually take the base. Bases are surprisingly durable. So now I'm going to build the black boat now. I'm like, I'm done with all this sitting on the harbor nonsense. And I was, my position in here was kind of getting a little scary because Humita's getting close to the Jess normal power. So the setup I have here is so that Humita can get a single hit here and can kill this infantry, but can't move onto the tile the infantry's at. So the artillery is always going to survive without being hit. And then I have the Neo tank follow up to hit any tank that moves into this area. There was a whole bunch of different setups I had here, but I think this is the one that I liked the most. And then here, I mean, there's an anti-air here. I just want to try and force Humita to invest in anti-airs on the other side, so I'll start moving this copter over. And you can see, I'm like, wait a second, I can just unload this infantry, and I'll have this really nice spot, so that even if Humita kills off all of my infantry that could potentially start to threaten this base, I'll always have the transport copter by to threaten a really quick capture after locking it out with the battleship. So yeah, I've given up this area. I was just like, it doesn't super matter. I'm just gonna all in, take out this base, and then I can deal with this other stuff. And then Humita comes down here with the Neo tank, kills off that infantry. I already have the city capture, so I'm okay with that. And now everything's just running away from the port. Because, except for these guys, I don't know why these guys stuck around. They just kind of made themselves targets. And then another infantry gets bought. And I was very curious about why this infantry got bought. Because there's a lot of pressure coming in on this base. It might have been the kind of idea of like, well, if it's just infantry, maybe Go7 won't build the battleship, because I mean the battleship can't leave past these shoals. It's just an infantry base. And I did think about not building the battleship and just sticking to like bombers. Go for the kills. I don't get the roll. It's fine. Yeah, we have our battleship now. Trying to block this tank from doing sneaky things. And then, because Humita is coming down here in full force, it's time to just run away! I'll join to get this in 3 turns. I'm just trying to make sure that Humita can't get a sizable economy, and I'm still threatening to potentially go for this harbor, bringing a tank over. I've got this tank too, but the real idea is that if Humita charges down here with everything, then I can just continue running and then try and take this harbor while this army just comes in and takes this base. Or if the army decides to go up here to fight, I can just come back. I'd be pretty happy. Humita does have a or if Humita doesn't use the power, then Humita can just clear this base with the Neo tank strike, but then can't stand on the base, so I can always just build a mega tank if Humita just clears the base and stands next to it. If Humita uses the power, then the base gets covered, but there's no infantry in range at all to actually capture the base, and I have an airport here and a port here, so it's very easy for me, and a port here. So it's very easy for me to rescue the base. And if the Neo tank doesn't join in, if it's just like tank, anti-air, then I can just come back with my units, and Humita's forced to keep one of these vehicles sitting on this base. So a third of the task force wouldn't be able to participate in any fights. Go7 bravely runs away. Exactly. Yeah, I could have gone for the bomber buy. I was a little bit concerned about double anti-air for now, and then Humita just attacking up here. So we do have the turbocharge. So this is really good news for me, because now I'm not going to have to deal with the potential of a Jess power in the future. Does knock my infantry down to 9, so I'll have a slower time actually getting these captures. And does clear the base. And then you can see, stands on the port, stands on the base. You can't leave these buildings. And then Neotank comes up here to stop me from just swarming the space. Then we have a Mega Tank. Now, Mega Tanks are pretty resilient to indirect fire, so especially with the Jess power active, the battleship doesn't really want to shoot this, but that's okay. It has a much more valuable target, which is half of the infantry on this entire front. So yeah, these units came down here, but now that they're kind of forced to stand on these, because if they ever get off, then I can just build units in the fight, which will end it. And you can see I'm at the end of Humita's turn. I'm still ahead by 2k income. I'm ahead by, was it like 17k in unit value, and I'm ahead by 7 units. That all kind of came down to just the opening and the turn advantage that they gave me. So I'll kill off that infantry with the battleship. I think that was a roll. And then I'll build a bomber, because at this point, there's actually nothing Humita can do to stop this bomber from just killing all of these units. You can't build anti-air anymore, because the battleship will just shoot them. And now I get to come back here, because these units are tied down to stand on these buildings. And I'll just build mechs to defend this front, and build a tank over here just to start building up some more forces on this side, because this pretty much, I mean, I build one more bomber just to make sure I can kill this off pretty efficiently, but at this point this base is already gone effectively, and I'll be able to fully invest on these other fronts in the future. Wow. The vast majority of Humita's value in army has kind of been trapped. So at this point Humita is, I mean, I think Humita already realized quite a while ago that the position was really bad, but at this point I believe Humita just sent a message and was like, should I just resign? Which I think is understandable. Humita sees how scary this is. So these attacks are mostly for fun. You can see like what happens here. The anti-air clears the way, kill off a tank, hit another tank, but now I can just build like a Neo tank if I wanted to from this base. I still have these units to fight as well. These are just attacking to attack. But you can see Humita did go with the process of taking out the infantry that could threaten to stand on the base, but I always have this guy right here. I can just build a transport copter and then land right on the base if I want to. There we go. We have our APC, Black Boat. Need to resign. GG. Oh, this was also set up so that Humita couldn't attack any of these units without being in bomber range, just to make it even more gnarly. GG, well played. So yeah, I think Humita played, besides letting the harbor get captured, Humita played pretty well for just trying to survive. Just the Jess pick is really hard. And you can see that even if you go for the 2 bases that I can't harass, you'd still get stuck in a similar situation where I have this pincer strike on this base. So yeah, I think that's kind of just a problem with migration maps in general, I think, except in Fog of War, where it's a lot harder to just chase your opponent down. Well, that, I guess it's also just a problem with the Jess pick, in that you can't actually fight infantry to infantry. Yeah, that was my latest tournament game. Hope you enjoyed seeing the brutal amount of bullying that I did. And again, over here, over here, I could have dropped off right here, and I wouldn't be like mad at someone who did do this. In my eyes, it's just offering a chance for your opponent to make it back into the game, because they're already at this point pretty much in a losing position. Yeah, you thought of sending both infantry to attack my north infantry? Yeah, I was trying to be really annoying with that, and like the black boat's here, so you can't land. With your black boat has to like go over here, so it can't chase as well. And then I'd be able to get the other bases up and running while that's happening. You love the infantry capturing those forest tiles? Yeah, that's Lash specialty right there. GG. Yeah, you'd probably have 2 injured infantry, and I would already have the other bases being captured, yeah. Or another base being captured. It's definitely rough going. If people just handshake, if we had just handshook the opening of the game and just be like, you go for your bases, I go for my bases, then you would have been in a much better position as Jess. For sure. Because your powers are just way better than Lash's. It's probably right here. It is right here. You should have gone with Sammy, yeah. I mean, I think Lash beats Sammy because Lash can actually start capturing the base, and the Sammy infantry won't just win in the fight. And then Lash, kind of how Jess has better powers in comparison to Lash. Lash has better powers in comparison to Sammy. So in the late game, Lash should beat Sammy on that map. Anyway, that's why I went with Lash. Sammy for sure is going to have the best bullying. And it would have been, I would have felt so good if you had picked Sammy, and I was like, yes, the Lash pick. The big brains. Was the Jess pick, I don't remember if you said so or not. Was the Jess pick with a plan, or was Lash Mirror would have been fun. I wouldn't been, you can't bully in the Lash Mirror. It was the Jess pick with a plan, or was it just because there were so many people picking Jess? I think was it Jess and Jake were the 2 that people were picking a ton of. What were the reasonable arguments? There'd be a lot of small vehicle fighting, not many infantry. That is true. They were kind of skipping past the migration step, I guess. Which is understandable. I'm trying to see who sent this in. Looks like they don't have the same name. My approach was better. My approach was mean. I'm sorry about being the big old bully. The airports are valuable, but they're easy to lock down if you don't have that like either of those bases can build a missile and lock it in one turn. You really need the pressure on the base to stop it from just building a missile. This is Sturm versus Grit. I think this is the game that was called a pacifist run. Have a good one, Humita. Okay. Make sure everyone's facing the correct direction here. This 12k sitting there doing nothing, but it's high funds, so you can afford the 12k. And it's not like going to capture the airport's free. It does take the investment that you could be capturing other properties. So in this matchup of Grit versus Sturm, I would give Sturm a very large advantage. Because not only is he going to have recons will be really annoying for Grit to deal with, but the even on when it comes to the indirects, Grit has very fast rockets. Although this map isn't awful for, or Sturm has really fast rockets. Although there's a fair bit of shoals and roads here, so it's not like Grit's going to have too bad of a time moving rockets around. But yeah, the recon floods that Sturm can do are just going to be an absolute nightmare for Grit to deal with. Having also minus 20% attack on direct units. If people watched my 1v1 live stream and we had the Sturm mirror where I built just an absurd number of recons, and you could see that the opposing Sturm Nova right there was trying to use tanks to kill the recons, and they just wouldn't die. That's the exact same situation that Grit would be in, except Grit doesn't have the increased defense to kind of mitigate the recon harassment a little bit. So it's definitely a really tough situation for Grit. However, if Sturm does not go heavy on these recons, then it's possible that Grit can just set up enough indirects to actually hold Sturm off. Because Grit does have a plus 20% attack for indirects as well as increased range. So that'll definitely do a huge number of Sturm's units. We have our first artillery coming out. So this is a very weird opening for Sturm. Not a single recon. just very heavy into the capture game. It's not how I would prefer to play Sturm. We do have a tank here, so this is kind of going for a really econ heavy Sturm. Another thing that Sturm can do, though, that Grit has a really hard time dealing with, is that Sturm mega tanks can kind of just charge Grit's lines, and mega tanks are pretty darn durable against indirect fire, and then they get an extra plus 20% defense on top of that for being Sturm. Imagine attacking recons with tanks and feeling like you lost that exchange. Yeah. And yeah, you can also you also do have your meteor always that Grit has to worry about when making giant artillery death balls. And no penalty from terrain. Yeah, the mega tanks skate right out through these forests. Okay, we have some more artillery coming out. We have this tank. Let's see what it does. I'm not sure what's going on with this black boat. I guess it was... oh, I see. I think the idea is to stand here. That's a pretty nice... That's a pretty nice spot. You stand here and you can block off infantry for going for the captures. We have another transport copter for Sturm here. And tank artillery suit, just absolutely no recons. So, as far as starts for Grit, this is basically as good as Grit could possibly hope for. Are those penguins evil because they're controlled by Sturm? No. They've turned Sturm to the light. Sturm can see the whole map. It's not a fog game, you don't need recon. Oh, I get it. But yeah, Sturm recons are very good, since they get to move their full 8 movement. And they also don't die to tanks. Very. We have bomber and then triple tank. Tanks for Sturm are kind of like slow recons, is how I like to view them. They still get absolutely destroyed by artillery, but you know, they're a little bit slower. But they're better against anti-airs. And they're more expensive. We have our first little harassment going on here as the tanks come in. We have the mega tank from Grit. We'll see what Sturm does to deal with the mega tank. We do have the bomber coming forward. The Sturm bomber, I mean, it's a fine unit. It's not the best bomber. You don't usually want just increased defense and minus attack on your bomber. It's not the best. It does mean that it has a harder time just knocking out anti-air. I agree that Sturm should not be building tanks. It should be there should be like early on like this many recons already attacking. Ooh, this is a double comm tower map, which Sturm does like, because now these are normal tanks. Okay. The mega tank starts moving over here. Only move 3 tiles is very sad. Defensive position on top of the airport. So something that Grit players can do that I kind of like, and was shown to me by Lost and Found, otherwise known as Jake Man, otherwise known as Rise, I think, currently on the Discord, is you can just build transport copters. This was more of a thing that he was showing me in High Funds Fog, where the transport copters help with the vision, but they also are kind of nice blockers, but it's something you can do even in standard to be a nice blocker for Grit and get some nice use out of your airport. Because Grit cares a lot about unit count. It's kind of like Grit wants to reach a critical mass of indirects, and having blockers that don't come from your base or one of your bases helps with that a lot. HQ looks overly exposed now. This one, it does look a little bit exposed, yeah. It actually doesn't even have the artillery locking it down. Actually, I think Sturm can just win here. Anti-air kills this infantry, tank kills this infantry. You just start capturing the HQ and there's nothing you can do? Is that what happens? Yes. That's GG. Unless Grit is able to somehow take enough damage to get a power. You did show me the T-Copter blockers in high funds in your Dragon's Blood game, but not in the Grit capacity. Because in the Grit capacity, it's just like so many transport copters. That's game over because the artillery can't reach, this infantry can't reach, the mega tank 1, 2, 3, 4, it also can't reach. The neo tank's even farther away. There's absolutely no way to stop this HQ cap unless you can see Grit's trying to get the charge, but I don't think it's going to be possible. There isn't a way to, if the anti-airs could hit these bombers, then maybe. He resigns. So that's something you always got to be careful with these HQs that escalate quickly. Yeah, Grit needs to shoot his own new tanks with artillery to get that much charge. That would be quite the play if they let you do that. That was well spotted by Mr. Pitango, and that's something that can happen in even experienced player, like top player games, is you can have units by your HQ and be like, oh, it's fine, and then suddenly you just can't reach it despite having stuff nearby. So, like, there was a game that we saw, it was content against someone else. Was it against Starflash maybe? And all content had to do was like interrupt a capture, kind of like what happened here, and just walk onto the HQ, and it would have been GG. And those are like very experienced players. Well played. Ooh, that was in the tournament game too. Next we have this one. Spends a while talking about Grit versus Sturm late game. Mr. Pitango, let me stop you right there. We're not gonna make it there. Left, right, looking good. JJ really needs to remember to put black boats on the HQs. I didn't look to see if there was a good HQ rush for this map. There might be. There probably is. The risk, I think, to an HQ cap over here is you're kind of always going to be hoping that it's a turn that they decided not to build a battlecopter. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Drop off. 1, 2, 3. It does take 4 turns for the APC to make it over here with the infantry. Start capping on the 5th turn. And that's for Sammy. Unless this is closer. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's the same. It still has to go for 1 force, just like this one does. Sammy might have an APC rush, but I guess for Sammy, you're not too worried if a battlecopter gets built. You could probably do it. But that's not what's happening in this game. We've got Vincarius as Adder versus Fyram as Jake. So this, I think Fyram's one of the top 10% of players. I don't recognize Vincarius. Here we go. Not going for the airport first opening, which is my signature opening for this map, is to go for the airport over this base first. And the reason I go for that is that I want to get the transport copters as early as possible to contest these islands and just get out there as fast as possible. And this base doesn't really have any captures that it goes for, because it gets this harbor before this base does, but all of this other stuff this base kind of gets to first, and all of this stuff this base kind of gets to first. So being delayed on this base doesn't hit you so much economically. I pick Yellow Comet for player 2 because Cobalt Ice against Yellow Comet works very effectively for people who are colorblind. Vincarius is strong in standard. Ah, okay. Ooh, Firem is delaying this airport capture for a long time. I do not agree with that. We do have a very fast recon from Vincarius on the top here. You can have some flexibility for how you want to invest your units, because this base can kind of go both directions. Usually it goes straight down here, and then you have your stronger side over here with your comm tower. That usually works out better from what I have seen. For one, it makes sure that your comm tower is nice and safe, and two, oftentimes this base goes for this harbor, so you have a nice target that your double base pressure can try and take away. That can make it really difficult for the other players to actually defend. Both players going for the same recon. Okay, we'll see what the recon gets done. I have on this map gone for just mass recon and hit up here, and it can be really annoying to deal with. I think I did that on stream with the don't make me get my main alt. Okay, so you can see these captures are being completed, and the infantry coming out of here now, they don't have anything to do. I probably would have walked this infantry over here to hop into this transport copter. That's assuming that the transport copter is going to try and push infantry out here as fast as possible and then go for these islands. It might be instead going to go back for this base, in which case it will either come down here and boost an infantry to here and then pick one up to go back up here, or go here and boost and go drop off for this harbor. Let's see. I think it's better to kind of push forward with the transport copter. And in that case, you'd want to have an infantry ready to hop in. Okay, looks like the transport copter is going to come back for this harbor. Wow, they're doing the recon artillery. Okay, recon artillery. So I do like the artillery with a whole bunch of infantry. It will hold this area very well. You don't necessarily need the recon here. I'm not quite sure what the idea. It might just be a scouting thing rather than trying to have a specific goal. You can see it comes back, get that harbor, which is fine, but I would definitely prefer to go for these, because if you get these cities with your transport copter first, it's really hard to lose them, because you get to have your infantry it finishes capturing the city and it just stands on the city, and that means they can't unload a unit to contest the city. They have to use battlecopters to fight you, and you can use your own battlecopters and just be fighting over this water, and you'll always be able to get yourself those battlecopter first strikes, because they have to hit your infantry with the battlecopters to get you off of the islands. So I'd prefer if that's what was going on with the transport copter, but I do understand why you would do this. Just get the back caps out of the way. Okay, so this recon does spot some captures happening. We'll see if it decides to interrupt anything. It will be safe, but it's very possible that it wouldn't be safe. A tank could be right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess it could be here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this hit. The hit over here should be safe. This one might not be safe. So we'll see which one Vincarius decides to go for. And I'm saying this one should be safe because you don't see the tank moving up with these infantry. So the tank would probably have just been built and moved up to a defensive position. It would be a little... It could have been on this city, I guess. But that would be a little weird. We have a nice little boost over here with the transport copter. It looks like maybe just going to go for these cities. I think that's still safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just barely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So you can attack from there. That's fine. Recon getting in harassment. Infantry goes and finds itself a nice forest to hide in. And then the vengeful recon strike. It did get a nice 6-9, so it's a pretty good first strike from our recon. But this recon shouldn't be too worried. It can definitely get away and be happy. Transport copter is now moving up to these islands, and this one's now moving down to here. So you can see if this transport copter hadn't done this stuff down here, it would already be getting ready to go onto these islands. It would actually get there before Firem's transport copter got there, and Firem would just be in for a surprise. Okay, no copters being built, which is really weird to me. Because not only are you going for the islands now, but you have the money to go for transport copters, or not transport copters, but battle copters, and it would increase your unit count. Although maybe it's just too expected that the battle copter would come out, and you're worried about the anti-air. It's not like it's bad to go for tanks. Okay, we have a very aggressive artillery here. Transport copter is going for the city. Vincarius is doing very nicely in the economy, since this city got captured without being interrupted, unlike this one, and this harbor has been captured, which Firem has not done. Another artillery coming up over here, so it might be that Vincarius is just trying to establish a line and not try and put too much pressure on Firem. Also goes for this. They had the exact same timing for going for the islands there. Okay, now we start getting the battlecopter. But you can see this harbor, like I was saying, this is something that this base tries to get control over, and it's very exposed. Really annoying. If Vincarius gets pushed back at all in this area, then Firem can just come in and take this. 2 hits, taking out infantry over here. And, ooh, some nice harassment from Firem. Taking out these very forward captures that Vincarius was going for. And remaining nicely covered by this artillery. So this is very nicely done for Firem. Okay, here comes the anti-airs. Oh. The recon gets taken out, which is really good. Vincarius does not get that roll, which will make Vincarius really sad, because now this 1 health infantry can be a nice scout and or blocker. Get the tank first strike, doesn't quite kill the recon, and then the artillery moves up into this forest that is spotted by this recon because it didn't die. And yeah, the harbor's been captured, but Vincarius has been pushed back over here, so the Firem's investment of units on the southern side is going to work out very nicely. Although Vincarius has had an econ advantage for such a long time that you would expect to see some very serious ramifications of that coming up soon. Okay, I think so. Over here, this is a mistake from Firem to move in with these infantry, because this is very much the weak side for Firem. So on your weak side, you have to preserve your infantry count, because it's really hard to resupply them once the pressure starts coming in and you have to support yourself with vehicles. What you would ideally have happen when you go weak side, strong side, is that your weak side is able to maintain its infantry count, and then the strong side can shift all of its vehicles over, and then the vehicles help win the fight, and the remaining infantry that you have can actually go for the captures. But if these guys all die, then even if you front switch over, you won't be able to capture anything. These guys are going to just get taken out. And now it's down to 4 infantry on the front. Ooh. So Vincarius could have stopped this capture of the city with the recon. Doesn't want to lose it. I respect it. That's probably a city that you can just take anyway, considering how many of Firem's infantry got taken out over here. So you can saw a similar thing kind of happened to Vincarius, with a lot of infantry got taken out, but has started to actually pull back with the remaining ones, which is good. It looks like this copter has decided to come join this attack. Sure. Okay. And then this is the decision you get to make, and as to whether or not you want to pick your infantry up off the island. And it's something you would want to do only if you are very sure of your position on this front and your opponent won't be able to get a transport copter past. In this case, Firem looks to be in a very good position over here, so this is just totally fine to pick up this infantry and bring it into the fight. But yeah, the bad side for picking the infantry off is now they can actually land on the island. Okay, Firem still ending the turn behind in income, which is really not what you want. It doesn't matter, but it's still slightly risky to hop into the transport copter at the end of the turn, because if Firem had a battle copter sneaking on over here, it would then get a 2-for-1 kill. It doesn't matter because it's super unlikely, but just something to keep in mind. There's no advantage to hopping in here unless you're getting hit by like global damage. Okay. Interesting attack by Vincarius there. Could have interrupted the capture, decides to just hit this infantry while still standing on the shoals. It must come down to whether or not the artillery can cover for it. I don't think I like that attack. The problem that's going to run it, that Vincarius is going to run into over here, is if your opponent has been investing heavily with their vehicles over here, which is definitely what it looks like considering what Vincarius sees up here is just 3 vehicles. They can just come in and kill your tank, and then they're going to have too many vehicles so that if your artillery fires, it will like hurt a tank, but then its position's revealed, it can't move, they just attacked, and then they'll just swarm it and kill it too. So I'd prefer to either the only backup is infantry. I would either not attack, or I would attack on the city so that you interrupt the capture. And if you're worried about them hitting you from your city, that's kind of pretty plausible, but it's not that much worse than the situation that you're already stuck in. And if they hit you from the city, that means they can't continue the capture on that turn or start a new one, which might give you a chance to get some reinforcements over here before the city falls. So we'll see if Firem decides to attack in here. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It looks like Firem doesn't want to overextend, and is going to go for this is the strong side, and to the weak side you go for the front switch, and this is kind of showing off how those infantry attacks earlier on are really costing Firem. It's just like there's no infantry to go along with this. I mean, you got away with this, so it's fine. Okay, very nice pickoff. And this is what I was talking about, where instead of interrupting the capture, it's just like, oh, I'll just take it later without posing a risk to my unit having to go and interrupt it. I do like this, falling back to the city, cover with the artillery. Maybe not having the artillery on the road, but that's okay. I think it was fine in the forest. Ooh, and the Neo tank buy. So Vincarius is pretty far ahead thanks to all of this economic lead. And this is a really good position for Vincarius over here. It's the classic move. Put the infantry forward to start this capture, and then have your vehicles ready to kill whatever comes to stop it. Now, normally, what you'd want to do here, and how kind of fog engagements escalate, is that you use infantry to interrupt the capture. You like 2 infantry to stop it, and then Vincarius sends some more infantry to take out those infantry, and then eventually someone has to send their vehicles, and then the other person gets to have some more vehicle strikes, and you just like keep escalating how much you're investing into the fight. If the situation is you put forward an infantry and they have to hit you with vehicles, and then you get to kill those vehicles, you just already won that fight. There's no they escalated, and you just get to have all of your resources available to over-escalate them. Out-escalate them? You're currently stuck in a Sturm mirror. You think you're gonna lose because you don't want to stall anymore? Sturm mirrors can be fun. Did you go for lots and lots of recon harassment? It can also be not fun. Depends on how you're enjoying the amount of walling and speedster strats you can do. Okay, so here a single recon goes in, so it's like the cheapest thing. And the idea here is the recon will die, but now there's an artillery in place to interrupt this capture in the future. Okay, staying still very nice and chill over here. Fire on the recon, use a recon to finish it off. Ooh, and then we go for the side slip. So I don't like this side slip because like half the units have already moved. But it looks like what's happening here is Vincarius is seeing that there's an artillery. It's like, now is the time to jump on it. Definitely a very dangerous thing to do, especially in Fog of War. An artillery being exposed doesn't necessarily mean that it would be a good idea to attack it. Because you can't, if it's only exposed on one side, you're not going to kill it, and then your vehicle is exposed to the counterattack. Now, fortunately here for Vincarius, it's a triple copter attack, and there's only one anti-air over here for Firem. Although I think this copter will be involved in this copter too. So definitely a little spicy for Vincarius to charge in there. We'll see how well it works out. Probably going to get the captures behind this, which is really nice. Yeah, well, you don't want the super to land on your front lines, yeah. That is rough. You greeted so hard here. This does look very greedy to me. If there was like one more anti-air over here, I think it's a complete blowout. We'll see how it goes. Getting city captures behind it is nice. Firem retreats with the tank. That is... I guess it was just the case of I want to move this unit out of the way. Copter strike. Tank strike. Get the block rock. Comes the tank. Nice takeout. This is why I was a little weirded out that the 4 health tank backed off, because you can see, like in this situation, the 4 health tank could take this guy out. It's no longer available. Charge forward. Now goes this recon. There's not a ton of support for Firem over here. I'm not a huge fan of this attack. I think the attack over here is very good, though. Okay. So there's some compensation that Vincarius got from this. In the attack down here, that these vehicles, and pretty much the only vehicles besides this artillery on this front, just kind of dove into artillery range. But Vincarius definitely got punished for overextending up here, but does get these 2 cities, which is nice. And it was a classic, I use the normal power, you use the super. Everyone's favorite. Okay, I do like just running away. That is for sure the right call. This artillery has a cluster of infantry that is defending. Okay, so the anti-air is going to get taken out, and then the tank gets taken out. And then, yeah. I mean, when you see so many units up here, it's like the other side can't have much. And indeed it doesn't. So at this point, Firem should probably front switch again. Because I don't think... I mean, there's only... I guess these infantry came up. But there's only one infantry... Oh, 2 infantry in range of starting to potentially capture something. So even if the vehicles kind of win the day here, it's going to be really slow progress to get anything done. And Vincarius is going to be sending stuff up here after seeing how much stuff Firem had. But for sure you back off over here. But yeah, ideally you want your army front switching into the front that has a lot of infantry in it. Did that not reach? That could 100% reach. I don't know why. I guess the recon's just going to reveal for the infantry to strike it. We do get to kill off a copter. Neo tank trying to be very sneaky. Lots of infantry just kind of getting in the way. Classic maneuver for infantry. They're very good at it. Then over here, we start pushing forward, going for this city capture again. Vincarius is up by 5k, so the more that Vincarius can kind of get this position into a staring match and potentially just taking like a single city, the better off Vincarius is going to get. We'll see. This infantry is still standing pretty happily, and there are still some tanks to bring into this fight too. Nice copter first strike. Down goes the anti-air. Down goes the tank. Making sure to keep... You can see Firem is keeping this infantry nice and healthy for when the fighting dies down. So pretty good attack in here. It's going to be really annoying for Vincarius if the artillery get into position that could actually defend the vehicles. That's definitely a jarring spot to put an artillery, or when it's next to the opponent's transport copter, but I do like the backup artillery kind of covering the tiles that it could be attacked from. It's a nice fancy setup. Okay, we do have the side slip from Vincarius here. Should definitely be attacking in over here. Run up, hit an artillery. What does the Neo tank want to do? Probably kill the anti-air. Oh. Decides to go for the artillery and then use the copter to kill that artillery. That does work, but it kind of just leaves this copter to die to this anti-air. And I'm very worried about this Neo tank being too exposed. Just getting surrounded. But these units are coming in and there will be another side slip, so it should be fine. Very cautious over here. Inviting a lot of infantry first strikes from Firem. There's the vehicle backup. It's probably okay. The Firem's for sure going to go for block rock this turn. Yeah, with the copter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's debatable as to whether or not you should actually, or Firem should actually go for this anti-air strike, because these copters have a very easy time killing off this copter, and this anti-air could go after this copter, but that's a little more exposed for the anti-air, so this is probably better. So we do have our block rock here. Decides to use it to attack the Neo tank with the copters. It's not the worst thing, but ideally you just take out the support for the Neo tank with the copters. I mean, you can see it did 2 damage, and the follow-up's going to probably do another 2. There might be a tank strike, that would bring the Neo tank down to a better level of health. Ooh, the tank managed to get through and hit the artillery over here. That's a big deal. The artillery is what was holding this entire push together for Vincarius. So the fact that just got tagged all the way down to 3 will make Vincarius very, very sad. But it looks like this capture is going to go through. Okay, so that's a very good attack by Firem. I still think that the copters probably would have been better off just killing off infantry rather than hitting the Neo tank. That's okay. Fall back. It's pretty possible to make an effective meteor in high funds. You can just build battleships, you can build mega tanks. Okay, so yeah, the Neo tank has to back off. Correct finish. Kill off a copter. Sadly, it's going to cost the anti-air its life. Over here, artillery fires, might as well, because you're trying to hold the city capture. Anti-air backs off, we have the tanks coming in, copter support. This is looking pretty good for Firem. The front over here, if the Neo tank is able to kind of heal up and Firem doesn't have any like artillery or anything like that countering it, then you could hold this line, especially if Firem just like pushes forward and overextends. I do like the transport copter bringing in the infantry. Okay, yeah, kills off the anti-air, gets some tank strikes. Does look to be overextending a little bit here, but we do have some nice. The double anti-air killing off these copters is a pretty big deal. Yeah, okay, so this is the better approach. You can notice that Firem didn't deal with this Neo tank at all. That's kind of what you'd prefer to do, unless you have a way of killing it. If you just kill everything around it, suddenly its effectiveness goes down a lot. I mean, you should definitely prepare turns in advance for Meteor Strike. Not keeping stuff in like one spot. But have an idea of how you want to magnet it, so it doesn't hit your front line. Okay, so this was a very good engagement over here for Firem. Oh, and this transport copter runs into the field. Rest in peace. Over here, that's pretty good. Gonna go back to take this city. Gonna take this city back is the plan. Might be overstaying his welcome a tiny bit. That's okay. Firem does need to get back into the economy, so going for these captures is a pretty big deal. We do have the side slip from Vincarius. Ooh, with the tank sacrifice to break through here. This is very... Well, I like this. That's a great breakthrough using the recon to interrupt this. This is very sad news because the tank would have been out of artillery range without a power here. But not the case here, but it's okay. Very good. Oh, excellent. So yeah, if you're up against the force, you can't fight it. You just run away. Regroup. And if they keep chasing you, every turn you get closer to your bases, you're getting your reinforcements faster, and they're getting their reinforcements slower. And that's kind of how the overextension will end up winning you the fight. Because they'll overextend, and then suddenly this number of units doesn't get any bigger, and yours is getting larger than, or at twice the rate than normally would be. You have the shot on the tank and then trying to guard the artillery by just standing on either side of it. The idea is that the artillery won't die in one hit, so it's fine to leave a single tile open for attack. And I do like this Firem is starting to front switch down here. That is a little bit spicy. You don't usually want to front switch away and then attack in. Now this unit's just dead, especially when there's a Neo tank. I mean, Neo tank will have no fear attacking from a comm tower, yeah. So that's definitely questionable from Firem there. Looks like Vincarius has sussed out that the front switch has happened, considering there was no support for the tank. Okay. If Vincarius wasn't at her, this would be a really annoying capture to go for. So Firem decides maybe to complete the HQ front switch. Okay, only a little bit. No. Yeah, okay. You usually don't want to do that when you're front switching, where you like kind of dawdle and then split the forces. Usually it's a front switch is a more of an all-in thing, but this might work out if you can. I mean, if you can balance the units perfectly so that you're like strong enough to not die on one front but strong enough to attack on the other, then that is of course ideal. So Vincarius is gonna let this city go. Ooh. Well, with letting the city go, that will even up the economy. Which is very good news for Firem, who's been ahead in the unit count by quite a bit due to some of these engagements. Okay. Does charge in here with the copter and continues capturing here. Has the bomber support. Looking very scary. Now, fighters are pretty common on this map because they can very effectively front switch between the two fronts and deal with a lot of air pressure. But in this case, I don't think the fighter's going to get built until the bomber's spotted, which is fine. But that's why I would be nervous about building a bomber, is that fighters are pretty common here. It is in a nice defensive position, though, so it's okay. We'll see if the fighter gets built. We do. There we go. Fighter, triple infantry. This is looking very much like a little stare off. You can see there's a tiny section of the force over here forward, and everything else is far back. So the Firem like pops a power or something and charges forward, then Vincarius will be all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bomber can't reach Neotank. Okay. Why did this copter charge forward? Not sure why the copter just attacked there. Oh. I'm surprised Firem didn't get that kill. That was a 20% attack and a 10% attack. Okay, this seems like a pretty big overextension to me. Does the bomber have the guts to go for that tank? I would not have the guts. It looks like it would be okay, because the fighter doesn't reach. Anti-air doesn't reach, so that is technically a free tank. But the odds that Adder has at least an anti-air in range with super would be really high. Yeah. Decides to run up there. Okay, we have the side slip. So no super. Just going for the extra +1 movement and the little stat boost that you get from it. Yeah, a lot of these units were very exposed. Firem will get, or Vincarius will get to kill off a bunch of them while also not having to really overextend to do so. You can see this fighting is still happening behind Vincarius' line of properties. Does have the tank go in here, grab the harbor. The Neo tank goes for a very nifty little movement here. So the idea is this copter can't see these tiles. So what Firem will see is that the Neo tank moved down, which is kind of feigning that it's front switching away, and then it loops back around and hides in the forest. So it's still here actually protecting this stuff. Okay. Vincarius holds on to this property. Up comes the fighter. Zoom. You can see it's covering everything, including this tank, which is important because that's kind of far away from the army. We're back into heavy copter production. Good. Why didn't I snap for... I don't take part in Meng's events. I also don't cover Meng's games. So Firem uses the block rock here. It's a little... I mean, I guess it's kind of like, what are you going to do? Definitely a hard punish from the overextension over here. The block rock probably has some pretty good opportunities on the bottom, though. I mean, it's fine to use your injured infantry or your injured copters to kill off this tank. I would be really worried about sending in full health stuff to the top here. All right, kill off the copter, hit the tank, hit that tank. What's this bomber gonna do then? Oh no! The bomber just has to run away. That super sucks. I think it's trying to chase down the Neo tank. Recon comes over, takes out the artillery. I like the attack down here. The attack up here, I think, is questionable at best. At least there's a capture going on during this fight. So Neo tank kills off the anti-air, which is really good. And then we have the side slip. Here comes this tank for a strike. Anti-air can beat up recons, as we see. If that was the plan, definitely go with the copter strike first. But it might have been a case of trying to get the vision. Okay. Tank does come down to stop this capture. Tank stops the capture. Forward comes the anti-air. So not the fighter. I don't know if I would have. I think I would have. I probably would use the fighter over here because it's less likely to get punished than the anti-air. But at the same time, you do kind of want to hide the fact that you have a fighter, so it's fine. So no bombers spotted over here, so I'd expect the fighter to start moving down. But not too far down. It still covers pretty nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For some reason it's getting its 11 move from having a super, but it doesn't have a super. So it still covers decently well. Zeke is captured for the first time in the game. Firem now has an econ lead, but it has cost him a lot. Although didn't have to lose all these units to get this capture. That was pretty much unrelated. Does get to kill off the copter with this anti-air and does still have the double artillery to hold this area, which is really good. Although they're kind of running away a bit, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, this bomber, I don't think it's done anything other than get spotted. At this point, it's not even stopping the Neo tank from doing stuff. Okay, so at this point, Vincarius has to be a little bit cautious because once you're past your property line, you're going to be in the overextension territory and end up getting absolutely walloped and losing all of the gains that you've had so far. Yeah, kills off the units. They're still behind the lines. And then just chills. And there's only one infantry over here, so it's going to be very hard to start capturing these properties for sure. We'll see. I mean, if I'm Vincarius here, I would probably start thinking about stealths or maybe mega tanks. The reasoning is I want something really expensive that I can buy so that I can build more infantry. And if I already have a fighter, then I'm already like ahead in the air race. Spotted bomber is a sad bomber, but there isn't an APC, so both mega tanks and stealths do become less appealing. There's like another cost that kind of comes with them. Wow. Not quite sure why Firem is going for the city cap. It's not like the fight was going very well for them over here. Yeah, that gets picked off. Ooh, okay. I'm not a huge fan of this from Vincarius. Yeah. Anti-air is a precious boy. That's the only anti-air on this front. There is the fighter that can always swap. But it's definitely dangerous to expose the anti-air like that just to kill off an infantry. Especially when it's only being protected by injured tanks. Fighter's just chilling here. Okay. Anti-air. Definitely want to replace the one that's about to die. These guys just get cleaned up. The bomber still can't do anything though. It has not attacked. It still has its 9 ammo. Scoot. Single file forward. Just out of range of the fighter with the super. Okay. Some attack going in over here. I mean, I would say we'd see the fighter do something, but the Neo tank just moved, so it's not going to be killing this anti-air. So it's probably just going to be copters fighting copters and copters fighting tanks. Still a pretty good attack result for Vincarius here. Definitely just don't attack over here though. There we go. That's better. Yeah, things are looking pretty nice. There's also some infantry that came along with this, so these cities can actually be captured. Pacifist bomber. Neo and bomber were taking each other hostage, except the Neo tank actually gets to do stuff. Okay. We have the block rock. The bomber doesn't get to hit the Neo tank from the planes, so the Neo tank should live, I think. Ooh, never mind, it just died. I guess the plus 10% was enough to offset the plus 10% defense. That might have been a roll. Or the Neo tank might have still had some chip damage. You think that the fighter might be piloted by Wayland? It's about to kill off a bomber. Do, 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 do. Okay, so I really like the attack down here. And I'm glad the bomber... I mean, this is kind of best case scenario for this bomber. It did get to at least kill the Neo tank before it dies, so it it stood around for a very long time doing nothing. Which is a cost in itself, but yeah. Oh my gosh. That plus 10% defense. It's working out a lot better for Firem than it did for Vincarius. That is definitely Wayland. Look at that. He's slacking on the job, doesn't even kill the bomber. Okay, a nice hit on this artillery. Air comes down, interrupts the capture. Not interrupts this capture, does spot the other artillery. We do have the side slip. Kill off a tank. Kill off a recon. Kill off an anti-air. Probably shouldn't be attacking this tank. I think attacking this tank would probably be better, although it has a lot of firepower. Or if you're going to attack that tank. Oh, never mind. I thought this, for some reason I thought this was a tank. Okay, it's fine to do it with copters because they won't take too much in the retaliation. Alright, we have the Neo-Tank double infantry. So I like this answer to the Neo-Tank more. Using artillery, using Neo-Tank is going to work out better for this map in particular because of how strong the airport is. So if you go for the bomber, then as we saw, the fighter like haunts your dreams forever. However, in this case, Firem's bomber did live, which is a big deal, because a 1 health bomber can still do some decent chip damage, and it's also suddenly unlocks itself as a very expendable and very effective blocker. There we go, we did some chip damage right there. There he backs off. Capture still in Firem's sights here. This is very worrisome to me because this is turning into a situation where the infantry are trying to push forward with very minimal vehicle support. And then on the other side of the map, we have mostly vehicles fighting. This is usually kind of a disaster situation. Suddenly all of these infantry can just get taken out, and no real progress can be made on the other side. Bomber gets finished off. In comes the attack. I mean, this is pretty much guaranteed to happen. It's the artillery, it's the infantry. Looking very good for Vincarius over here. The copters want to try and take out the Neo-Tank. It's something you can do when you have enough of them. Back down to 3. Although, I think this is probably just an overextension for Vincarius. Like, the Neo-Tank, I don't think it was far enough forward to warrant going for this kind of surround without putting yourself too far forward. But I guess if you're going for a capture behind it, it's not so bad. So Firem will be able to kill off a bunch of stuff over here, but the attack, or the pushing forward over here with all these infantry was a huge mistake. As we saw, yeah, you can see the Neo-Tank is pretty easily freed. All those units went down for attacking it. Yeah. Firem's like, fine, I just give up over here, and tries to save or salvage this situation. Certainly getting the kill off triple copter and the tank will help with that. But even so, Vincarius is looking really good in the value department here. Up by 30k at the start of the turn. That's more than an entire turn of income. There we go. Kill off the infantry. I think maybe there was another unit that could have done that, but I could be wrong. Ideally, you don't use a full health tank to kill off a 7 health infantry. That's okay. Then these guys get to come up. Oh. This guy can reach the artillery. Oh. Anti-air dives forward, and then the fighter's also going to get to kill off a copter. Or maybe not. I guess it wants to kill off this copter instead. I guess it's less exposed down here is the idea. It's down to 20 fuel. Oh no. Hey, we have the APC. Things are looking very good for Vincarius. Firem does get to hit the anti-air. Kill off a copter. Kill off the anti-air. There is a block rock available, but there's not I mean, there's no real follow-up for it right now. I think this is a situation where you, as Firem, you would save the block rock and try and build up some vehicles to use it next turn. And that does seem to be what Firem's going for, except that the Neotank just went down here. So the problem with going down here is that the reinforcements are coming from up here. So the fight is going to start moving away from the reinforcements, and that's going to that's going to stop that buildup of vehicles that Firem would like in order to have that effective super. Ooh, I like it. Vincarius is like, I can see that you have a super coming. Time. Oh, never mind. I thought it was going to be a time to just fall back. Well, I guess you can always trade an anti-air for a copter, sure. Oftentimes, I wouldn't consider that a great trade. Because that's like something that you could have done maybe on the next turn, where the anti-air isn't then left exposed to the elements of war. Although I guess it doesn't give any charge to Firem, so there is that in its favor. Okay, Firem is in pure tank spam territory now. The fighter does get refueled. So this is one thing you can do, which I think is Firem's approach here, to try and deal with a fighter, is that you just stop building air units. However, fighters do make for amazing blockers. That's not what we've seen this fighter do. It's been a very cowardly fighter. But they are expensive, so having them stay nice and safe in the back can be very effective too. Okay, so this is good for Firem because Firem has the charge advantage, so the more units that build up here, the more effective each of Firem's units will be if they're given that first strike opportunity. And then assuming they do enough damage with their first strike, that Vincarius doesn't get to have a really good counter. So I think this will probably force Firem to use the super. I mean, this is a very aggressive move out. I don't like this. Okay. Firem's have been having a little bit of a problem of leaving a front and then attacking on that front. It's usually the opposite. You want to go to a front and then attack on that front. You pull back on the front that you leave from. So no super used over here. Okay. Ooh. Curious is like, well, maybe I can get the first strike before your super goes off. And maybe... don't know if Vincarius is going to have a very easy time making it to the normal power, which is needed to get this Neotank on Neotank strike. This is looking very dangerous. Does get to hit that tank. Okay. Well, there is double Neotank waiting in the back to take out this Neotank from Firem. And I assume these units are just going to come up here and... oh, no, they're going to also swap down here. Okay. And just fall back. Alright. I would probably have gone up here and try to wipe out these units, because there really can't be much more supporting this when you see like 6 tanks, a Neotank, and anti-air, and copter down here. We do have the stealth come out for Vincarius. Okay, we do have the block rock. There's still one infantry over here and another one that can come in with the transport copter. So there's some potential to get some captures. Neotank just fires from the city. Try to stay nice and safe. Get the one shot on that anti-air. Lots of attacks over here. Oh, the 1 health tank fails its combat. Anti-air kills off the copter. Down goes the tank. Goes the infantry to hit the copter. Okay. That's a pretty decent attack. This tank just chilling in the woods, completely surrounded by opponents. Curious is going to be able to take this city if that's what desire. We have the side slip. Just checking to see if there's anything in the woods. Starts taking the harbor. I like it. Kill off the recon. The full health tank just retreats all the way to the city? What? Was there not a better target for it than nothing? It could have hit this anti-air. Very weird. Could have hit this tank. Could have killed this tank. It doesn't really matter if you're in this artillery range. Because if you're in the artillery, like, it doesn't move. You see Waylon has swapped to a tank now, yeah. Okay, I do like the preservation of the units. Just let the one city go. Alright. Neotank first strike that sees another Neotank. I think that's indisputably a bad choice. You definitely do not stand and fight here. This is going to be effectively deal 5 damage to a Neotank, lose your Neotank. Go in here, take out the artillery. Stealth comes in, hits the Neotank. If I was in Firem's situation, I probably wouldn't have expected the stealth to kill it. I would have expected the artillery to do it. But the stealth does a good job of it. Kill off this artillery. The tank now goes forward to hit the anti-air. Next little blockers. Just being annoying. This fighter doesn't have any targets. Firem is indeed going with the just build no air. If you see your opponent's just building no air, you can use this as a nice blocker. Although I guess once you reveal a stealth, you should definitely keep the fighter around because your fighter can go on anti-fighter duty. At this point, Firem is just super dead. But it looks like they have some hope of up here getting some captures down. How much money did Firem have at the end of that turn? Firem had floated like 7k. Wow. And now falls back. Anti-air gets rooted out. Stealth hits this medium tank. You've got it 100%. You're going to know that your opponent built a fighter. So we'll see what Vincarius wants to do about that. You can ignore it or you can block for your unit. Looks like the idea is to try and block for it. Keep the fighter away from the stealth. Sometimes you can just be like, I don't care if you hit my stealth, I'll kill your fighter afterwards. But, I mean, Firem is half the unit value. Oh my gosh. Let's see what the block rock is able to do. Does clear off one side. You do need two sides available. One to see the stealth and the other to attack from. Okay. Oh, the Neo tank survives. Oh, the tank kills this tank. Okay. The stealth will get hit here. It survived at 1. Thanks to the power boost defense. Okay. I mean, that's a pretty good attack for Firem down here. We have the bomber buy. I think the very sketchy bomber buy. I mean, the fighter does still exist. So here we go. Hit the tank. Hit the tank. Decides to hit the fighter with the anti-air and then with the fighter. That's a little... I guess the Neo tank's just gonna kill off the anti-air, so it's fine. Our side slip. Tank kills off the artillery, then tank stops the capture. Artillery fires. Are we not gonna kill off the anti-airs? Okay, I guess that works. I mean, fighters don't die in one shot to anti-airs, so you can definitely do that kind of thing. That's the fancy little blocks. $20 unit count lead. Now this is Fog of War, so you don't necessarily know what the unit values are like, but you'll know the income difference, and you do get to see the losses. And it looks like there wasn't a way for Firem to stop this comm tower. There was... I mean, it's definitely worth it to stop the comm tower capture over hitting the artillery. Firem resigns. Just wanted to kill off the Neo tank. That's fair. GG. Well played. There was some overextension mishaps that we saw from both sides, and there was some very good front switches that happened. Also, Vincarius catching wind of Firem's front switch was really good. The biggest thing that I think hurt Firem was kind of attacking on the side as units left it. Leaving everything vulnerable. And then Vincarius was kind of like winning, and then went for a really greedy attack. And then got punished for that, but then managed to pull it back once Firem overextended over here. The unit composition for Vincarius was really nice. It's a nice mixture of indirects, fighters, some tech ups, which is good. It looks like all the indirects ended up dying out for Vincarius, but they were there, I swear. GG, well played. I think I can get one more game in here. Which is good because Brazmac showed up. I saw Brazmac in the chat. Dr. Profeta versus Brazmac. I post the streaming schedule on my YouTube community post tab stuff. So I'll be having another stream on Friday and then one on Sunday. Usually it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday currently. Okay, so because Brazmac's already Yellow Comet, we'll make Dr. Profeta in a couple dice. This is a Drake Mirror, which is always fun. We'll see how... I have to go through a little bit quickly, that's okay. We'll see how it plays out. I do usually prefer if you go for this little island and the airport especially as fast as possible for high funds, just because having copters on the field is a big deal. Your opponent has to react to that. Even if you're Drake, that's going to be good, especially because, I mean, it's Drake versus Drake. It's not like your opponent's going to have better air than you. And the air units are still really effective, even at minus 20% firepower. Go7 streaming schedules whenever we don't expect it. It's public. I guess if you don't have maybe if you don't have notifications, or if you're not subscribed, then you won't see it. Nobody will have any fuel. That's true. So very good buy from Brazmac to get the APC. Looking ahead. Dr. Profeta with the recon buys. It's a little bit late. I don't like the recon buy over here. This one base is going to need all the infantry it can get to get these captures. Ooh, we have an effective boost. Gets this city. Very nice. So it's a little late to go for the recons, I would say. They're not going to show up in time before tanks can kind of hold down the fort. Watching live is more fun. I know, there's something to it. Okay. Tank buys. Again, see, the problem here is look at all of these captures. Now, this one probably would get, but like Comm Tower, these two captures, they're just never going to happen now. Because the vehicle, like, this recon wasn't in infantry, and now there's going to start being some pressure put on the space, and it's going to have to keep building vehicles. I guess what happened was, well, the recon is going to get to interrupt this capture, which is nice. Brazmac with the recon mech buy. And then the tank over here. Okay. Well, there is an APC to help with the mech, which is nice. So I guess we'll see how that ends up playing out. Very nice. I like the pressure that Dr. Profeta is putting on over here with the artillery blocking this off, or covering this. You can make it even more interesting. Okay, okay. Double comm tower. Oh, I didn't even notice this. Brazmac went for the comm tower first over the airport or the city. Okay, I like it. We attack, cover with the artillery, the classic move. Tanks start moving forward. Okay. ABC's blocking off this tile. I guess the infantry can't interrupt, but to do so, it's abandoning the mech. Bomb tower priority. And now we have the tank over here. Tank moved down here. There's no choppers coming yet. Wow, it worked. Oh, I see. It's because the artillery covers that tile. Okay, that's a lot better than I thought. Although I think that doesn't reach. So I guess this recon is kind of overloaded for where it can go. I guess Dr. Profeta could have still interrupted this and then overloaded the artillery by attacking over here, but it's fine. Alright, we have a nice build-up over here from Dr. Profeta. Eventually this will spill forth once the vehicles are ready to support. You can see the comm tower isn't captured. Even this city isn't captured, although it's the same over here for Brazmac. Get the recon on recon violence. Mech. The mech is forced to just walk all the way down. The APC's like, I got better things to do. Now we have the airport being captured by Brazmac. Ooh, a cheeky little tank strike over here. I like it. We'll see how this develops, because right now Dr. Profeta kind of has an artillery glued to this city. If it ever goes away, then Brazmac can just take it. Do like the tank just sitting on the city being like, ha ha ha, you can't stand here if I'm standing here. Comm tower is being gone for at this point, so we'll see if Brazmac wants to stop that or not. That is definitely a better position for the artillery. It's a little bit safer. One of the mechs got a transport. Ooh. The black boat, I like it. Drops off the mech. I mean, this is a Drake black boat too, so it's super durable. And it's able to cut off. This is a pretty good buy. Cuts off this entire route for travel. Makes it a one-way gate, so to speak. Now, over here, it's probably worth it for Brazmac to just attack. Like, tank kills recon. Recon hits infantry that's capping the comm tower. You could even attack with your tanks over here, too. I mean, you can overload the Neo tank and bring up the artillery in the back. That is what happens. Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit of an attack. This has been a 2 comm tower to 0 comm tower advantage for a while. Tank to hit the recon. Whoa. Neo tank, no fear into the artillery range. Well, I think that does guarantee that the comm tower gets captured, because there's no way to clear this tank for the infantry to get through. But yeah, the idea of going for like a full out attack is that it's just so hard for the space to produce an infantry. So even though this is one move away, if there's so much pressure being put on the space, it has to build vehicles. Okay, so we do get a nice shot on that Neo tank. We're gonna have some infantry follow up for it, or tank follow up hits. another Neotank. We do have the copter being built. There wasn't a copter from Dr. Profeta, I noticed. That might have been in response to the fact that Brazmac had a prophylactic anti-air, but one of the big problems that this one base is going to have is just the unit count. So building a Neotank would make a lot of sense. Black Boat still being a really good blocker. Okay, so Dr. Profeta has now reached the double comm tower threshold and actually might get this. Did he? Maybe? There is an income difference, true. You're ahead by 4K at the end of Dr. Profeta's turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Ooh. Dr. Profeta's not messing around. Sent in the tank for the first strike. Fully accepting the danger that this mech is threatening. Okay. We did have an infantry get squeezed out here with a copter. This tank, if it wants to, desperately could go and interrupt this, but we might have a front switch. Or is it just going to be a tiny attack? The mech first strike. Going for these city captures, covering with the artillery. Looking good. It's out of range of this medium tank and this tank, so that's pretty good. There's not much that Dr. Profeta can do about this. Medium tank does move in here. We have some nice tank coverage on this city. That does stop this medium tank from ever hitting this tank, or this medium tank. So this tank could get taken out, but it would potentially leave this medium tank vulnerable. And this also means that the mech from Brazmac is very safe. Ooh, and Brazmac and the artillery left its spot. So yeah, Brazmac just gets to come over here and start this capture, although there is an infantry ready to interrupt. Looks like Dr. Profeta is also going to try and go for a nice city capture. Oh, artillery's like, no, it's fine, I'm still here. Or I guess it's a new artillery. Copter gets built. Trying to break through here. We have the tank first taking. The medium tank is going to the city. This does still invite a medium tank first strike, but there's not very effective follow-up to it, so it should be fine. That is true. That is true. I was like, the first strike's good for you, but if the super does go off, then Brazmac should be able to hit this, or like it gets hit down to 8 from the Drake super, medium tank, and then the mech can kill it off. It would actually be very nice for Brazmac because it would also interrupt this capture. But we'll see if Brazmac's able to get the charge needed. We have a nice repair on the capture. Oh, so we have the attack before the super, unfortunately. Let's get the Neotank strike. Here comes the Typhoon. The mech. Aww, if only. If only the super had happened first. So the reason why it matters that the super is first, besides just the counterattack damage, is because the defense stars scale with the health. So if the medium tank had been at 8 instead of 10, it would only be getting 80% of the defense stars instead of the 100%. So this medium tank would actually have done more damage. So that's very good for Dr. Profeta that it lived. And now it can now repair up. Or potentially try and hit something, I guess. beacon take over here. Start moving on in with the troops. You'll notice that the infantry or mech that's in the APC did not unload, and that's because Brazmac is expecting Dr. Profeta to use a super of his own. Typhoon? I didn't look at how much damage these did. Let's see. Looks like Profeta's did 40,000. And Brazmac's probably did about the same. Yeah, wow, they both did like almost exactly the same, 40,000. Kill off the copter. A little wall here. Looks like... Oh, I see. It's because the artillery had to move in order to get the kill on the copter. So this city is going to get captured by Brazmac, which is super good. You take kills off an infantry. Medium take kills off the infantry. Okay. Medium tank does go back to heal, and the recon goes and attacks the mech. I think that's a good play. There isn't... I'm a little concerned about this infantry attack squad, though, because there isn't really that much supporting them. Okay, in comes Brazmac. Some attacks there. The black boat moonwalks on over into the harbor there. City is saved. Brazmac has a 12k income lead, which is enormous, even for high funds. It's a third of Dr. Profeta's income. Okay, like this attack force coming down here. There's been really good use of artillery by Brazmac this whole game to just put pressure on this one base. Tries to tag that. I probably would have killed off the 1 health, just so there's one less unit. I mean, going from 7 to 6 does matter for both captures and more things being able to one-shot it. So it's not like it's bad. But I would prefer to just kill the 1 off. And then Dr. Profeta resigns. I think that's a pretty fair resign. Being down 12k is really hard to come back from it. How do you even deal with this force? The 7 would still capture in 3 turns. But if Dr. Profeta wants to, they can go here and then move the 1 in and it becomes a 7 again. Or like a full health unit just keep over. I can understand why you why you hit it. GG. Well played. Very good artillery use. Alrighty. I'm going to be calling the stream there because I have to go to class pretty soon. I hope everyone enjoyed. My 1 verse 14. It's going all right. Could be better. I don't know. It must be next week that I'll do rivals. Hope everyone enjoyed. Here is an apple. Ah! Oh, the penguin's just so excited when I'm holding an apple. There is a Patreon if you'd like to support me. And thanks for watching.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's his thing.